Can Winchester's old school Silver Tip 357 Magnum pass our extreme gel test? Today we're going to find out, so buckle up. Hello everyone, welcome back to LocaCarnivore. Glad you could join us. Today we're going to show you the gel test that we did on Winchester's old school Silver Tip 357 Magnum load, their 147 grain load. This thing, it goes back well before the turn of the century. And some people say that the old ways are better than the new ways. Well, we're going to find out today whether or not this thing can pass our extreme frost giant gel test. And we're going to have the results for you at the end of the video, so make sure you stay with us all the way through. For those of you who are new to our channel, quick reminder about what our frost giant extreme gel test does. Our famous frost giant gel test, or infamous depending on your point of view. Some people's pet loads have not done well in this thing, and it genuinely stresses self-defense handgun loads to the max. I mean, if you can get through this test, you got a pretty good load. What the test does is it simulates a cross-torso shot against a large-statured individual, say who's very tall and, large-bodied, heavy-muscled, and they're wearing actual winter clothing. What we did was we came up with a way to simulate. We put actual winter clothing material together, and we have, and we'll show you a picture here real quick. What you see is you've got the cloth package that would simulate the outside sleeve, and then we have a gel block turned sideways. That's the arm, if you will, the arm tissue. And then we have two cloth packs between the arm block and then the torso block, which is turned the normal way longitudinally, and those simulate the inside sleeve and then the garments that it would be on the torso, because you've got to go through on a cross torso shot 3 different layers or 3 different packages of clothing, if you will, and that's what this thing simulates. We're using clear ballistics gelatin blocks. They are becoming very quickly an industry standard. There's a lot of agencies that use those around the country and elsewhere, and they're quite reliable. The nice thing is they're repeatable. Any test material is never going to be an exact duplicate of a live person, because you just can't, other than shooting live people, you can't get to that point where you can simulate it. But it gives us a scientific baseline, a repeatable measure to compare one load to another. It doesn't necessarily mean it's definitive that a particular load is good or bad per se. It gives us a way to compare one load to another load to another load. Hey, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and like this video. That really helps the channel a lot. Don't forget to subscribe. We want you on the LocaCarnivore team, and ring that bell, the notification bell, so you'll find out every time we come out with a new video. So the test conditions for our test that we did on that particular day, the ambient temperature, the outside air temperature, if you will, was 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and the block temperature was 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And Clear Ballistics says to have your gel blocks between 60 and 70 degrees for optimal performance, so there you go. Test gun for today was a 4-inch model 65 Smith & Wesson revolver 357 Magnum. All right, so before we send you down to the range so you can see how this all turned out, don't forget, we really appreciate your support. We have a Patreon, so give us a little love over there. And don't forget our website, LocaCarnivore.com. While you're there, you can go to the store tab, get some great Loca merchandise. We'd appreciate your support in that area too. So let's go down to the range at the sprawling LocaCarnivore headquarters complex and see how the Winchester Silver Tip 147 grains 357 Magnum load did against our frost giant. This will be the 147 grain Winchester Silver Tip 357 Magnum load, fired out of a 4-inch Smith & Wesson Model 65. Good hit. Excellent. Okay. So here's the bullet. Might be able to see it better from that angle. There's the 357 Silver Tip. A lot of material. Look at all that material it pulled in. We'll show you that in a bit. And again, typical figure 8 or double lobe shaped expansion track, temporary cavity in the initial expansion with a secondary expansion cavity in the torso. Okay, we're going to look at temporary cavities from the top, and right here is the 147 grain 357 silver tip. And it gets you, again, you get that double lobed effect. And then look at this huge cone of material that it dragged in. Additional expansion up until it came to rest. That started immediately on entrance into the torso block. Fascinating. Okay, we brought that gel test block in from out of doors so we get a little better light here, and we're in the our award-winning research laboratories at our clandestine alpine test facility located at the sprawling LocaCarnivore headquarters complex. And we're going to show you the wound track in the torso from the 147 grain Winchester Silver Tip 357 Magnum load. There's the bullet, and you can see this very large temporary cavity that started immediately, and I'm going to show you why that happened. And here's the caliber level, the caliber basically. A little bit of bounce back. According to clear ballistics gel technical people, you don't count the advance travel in the cavity. You have to measure penetration where the bullet actually stops. So let's show you why that is the way it is. And here is the enormous, and I mean enormous, plug of clothing material that was dragged into this cavity here, made that cavity. And I suspect what happened was the bullet, the silver tips are notorious for having very jagged petals. It basically snagged that cloth and just dragged it all in, which probably accounted for the very shallow penetration. This is only about 3 inches or so, maybe 4 at best, into the what would be the torso block of our Frost Giant test fixture. Not sure if another test would be warranted to see if this would is just a one-off, but we have to kind of go with what we get. But that's what we got, and there is, like we said, the huge, just huge plug of cloth that was just dragged into that wound cavity. Alright, here's our Winchester 147 grain 357 Magnum silver tip, Winchester silver tip, that we recovered from the gel, and it expanded exactly like the silver tip's reputation has it. It just complete mushroom. See how much bigger it is compared to the base of the bullet, the actual caliber. It's almost 1.5 times diameter. Here, I think, is the reason we got that big plug in there. I think you can see that jagged petal there, and it has material on it, and that, I think, that hung up a lot of that and just acted like basically a awl grabbing a hold of, or some sort of a hook grabbed a hold of that all that cloth material and just pulled it right in. If it hadn't done that, I think we would have got a little better penetration, but who knows? We might test one again later sometime, see if it keeps doing it. But that's an interesting result, but the bullet performed exactly as designed, and the silver tip's not reputed to be the best penetrator, and this would tend to bear that out. But if you need expansion, boy, you got it. Wow, that was pretty interesting stuff. I was very surprised at how this load did. The silver tip's been around forever. It kind of got a bad rap in the old FBI shootout in 1986 in Miami. One of the 9mm loads didn't, well, a couple of 9mm loads didn't do so well. So it does have a reputation as not being a good penetrator, which, as you saw, it does expand well, though. So if you're looking for expansion and a lot of dynamic energy transfer, this is a good load. And it also is going to limit your over-penetration risk, as you saw. But what do you think about all this? What do you think about our gel test regimen? What do you think about the silver tip? Do you carry this load? Did it change your opinion about the load? Go down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to share this video. We'd really appreciate it. Well, what was the bottom line? What's the numbers on this thing? It didn't do very well, as you saw. The numbers are total penetration from outside the arm into the torso was 11 3/4 inch, and in the torso itself was 4 1/4 inch, 4 1/8 inch, pardon me, 4.125 inches. That is not enough. Our basic standard is we need roughly about 12 inches of penetration in that torso block, because the chest cavity on a large statured individual is about 22 to 24 inches wide at the armpits. So the math says to get to the heart in the middle of the chest, you need roughly 12 inches of penetration. We'll kind of, give it some credit for at least 10 inches, but normally we want to see 12 inches. This was 2/3 too short, as it were. So, and it matters in this type of scenario. You need to get into those vital organs. So as you saw there on the temporary cavities, the arm cavity was quite good. It had the signature silver tip double lobe thing where you get some expansion. There's a kind of a big balloon and then it necks down a little bit. It actually just kind of turns on its axis, so you get it goes this way and then it goes 90 degrees and then it comes around. So that's as the bullet's twisting along, augering through based on the rifling spin, the rifling imparted spin of the bullet. You're going to get that, and that's very signature. We've noticed that in every silver tip, regardless of caliber, that we have tested so far. And the arm cavity was, all the way through the block, but not quite 6 inches, so it was about 5 3/8. And it was 3/4 of an inch in diameter, which is very good, very dynamic. That's in the league with some of the best loads out there for, temporary cavity diameter. And of course, once we got into the arm block, or rather, once we got into the torso block, everything kind of, the wheels came off the cart, thing fell off the tracks, and that big plug of fabric pulled in. It made the temporary cavity 1 inch in diameter, but that was mainly due to all that fabric coming in. And then it was only, from the bullet, the actual expansion from the bullet was about 2 inches, a little over 2 inches in length. So it's about half of the actual penetration. So you can see that the silver tip was really good on expansion, but really, basically did not meet standards on the penetration at all. We hope you found all the information in this video useful and helpful. And we thank you so much for spending your valuable time here with us at the LocaCarnivore. And remember, you can learn at least one thing from just about everybody you meet. So pay attention, and thanks for watching.